Over 500 people have contributed to its development. It's taken over 450,000 man-hours to craft. When asked how much it cost to make, the game's developers Ninja Theory said, rather a lot. We're talking about Heavenly Sword. In a Gamer TV exclusive, we go behind the scenes of one of the most anticipated titles for the PS3 this year. We talk exclusively to Andy Serkis, dramatic director on the project.
They're not sort of superficial catchphrase characters, they actually have a real life.
One of the ninjas takes us through an exclusive demo of the game.
My tip to really conquering this game is really learning the combo system.
Enough exclusives, but what's it all about?
I should not have been. It was written that 23 years ago, in the year of the Fire Horse, a deity would be reborn in the body of a mortal man. A savior, destined to unite our people and show us the way to the promised land. Instead, I was born from my mother's dying body, and my people wept. They said I was a portent of doom. Maybe they were right.
Portent of Doom? Sounds like my ex. Anyway, it's dark times for Noriko and co.
The story centres around Noriko, our heroine.
As you command, Father.
Her clan has been under attack by King Bohan, who's ravaging the land.
Ravaging is an understatement. He gets so desperate to defeat the clan that he calls on an evil raven spirit. The only thing that can now save them is the Heavenly Sword.
The Heavenly Sword is an incredibly powerful and ancient weapon, and no mere mortal can wield it without dying because it sucks the life force. Only the Chosen One can wield it. So when Noriko decides to take up the Heavenly Sword, she's making a life choice. She's deciding to go out, seek revenge. She just doesn't care anymore.
And that's where the game starts, at the end. Noriko charges full-on into Bohan's army. It's all a bit much. The army's trying to kill her, the Heavenly Sword is killing her, so yes, she dies.
Please, send me back. Let me go. Without me, they will perish. Answer me!
OK, still sounding like my ex. Noriko, love, you're dead. And it's from Purgatory that you get your chance to fight back. Select a level from one of the monolithic swords and do what you do best. Go kick ass.
You may collect the bodies of your men and give them a dignified burial.
Oh my god, it is my ex. Ninja Theory are making sure the violence here is extra special, so they've got one of their best ninjas on the case, lead combat designer Saitong Man.
At the very beginning, we've always looked at lots of martial arts films. We even sat down every Friday just to watch some Asian kung fu flick. And from those, we look at the types of things that they do, the creative things with the ropes and lots of spins and things like that. And we really tried to pick out what we liked of that and chain them together in sequences of combinations of moves, which just make the hero look as amazing as possible.
OK, so let's see some Heavenly Sword action.
Now, the Heavenly Sword is based around a 3-stance combat system. What we call the speed stance is what she defaults to and is running around in now. When you hit the attack buttons, she's got 2 swords, and it's a very fast and technical combat system. The other stance is a power stance. By holding an R1, you switch to a power stance, and hitting the same attack buttons whilst R1 is being held will allow me to do a lot slower but very powerful attacks. And the third stance is range stance. In range stance, you can't block at all, but the sword's on chains and you can hit multiple people.
You'll also have to choose the correct stance to block effectively.
When you block an attack, if you hit triangle just at the moment of block, you do a counter and you dispatch him straight away. There's dozens of counters in the game. But if you get the timing perfectly, you get to do a kill counter, which I'll try and do in a second. That's a kill counter just there, because I block the attack and I press triangle just at the right moment. And as you see in the top left-hand corner, I've got my HUD, which displays my health. I'm doing quite well at the moment, but I've got 2 little orbs, and that's my superstar. So if I run up to someone and press circle, I'm going to execute a superstar, which will kill the person I did it on and injure the people around it.
Noriko will also get her hands on a kind of a medieval bazooka that launches deadly fireworks. Once unleashed, you can hold the fire button to guide the missiles with aftertouch, using either 6-axis tilting or the analog stick. On top of that, Noriko's sister and sidekick Kai, the other playable character, wields a crossbow loaded with bolts that can also be steered towards their unfortunate targets. Again, a camera chases their flight path all the way, so you can see that painful landing up close and in detail. Like someone is just... Ouch.
Peekaboo, little one.
One standout thing about Heavenly Sword is the emotion in the cutscenes. They look realistic, they sound amazing, and they drive the story. Now, the guys at Ninja Theory are no fools. Games are their forte, not acting. So they got in an expert, someone with a vast knowledge of motion capture and, of course, acting.
My name is Andy Serkis, and I am dramatic director on Heavenly Sword, and I'm playing King Bohan.
Must cleanse the kingdom of the perverts.
This is hopefully a new departure for acting.
Must annihilate the degenerates.
Actors will come out of drama schools and then they'll do a bit of theatre and they'll do a bit of telly and film, of course, and games.
Must destroy that female hell hag.
Because I think games is going to be a huge arena for actors.
He lures me ever towards her, waiting for the moment when she can sink her slavering jaws.
To summon the magic, Andy and the other actors headed to New Zealand, to none other than Weta Studios, where Lord of the Rings and King Kong sequences were filmed.
The very first thing that you do is you go along and try the suit on and have the basic dots and everything put on you, and they start showing you how your movement is affecting a basic template of a character.
Show me some action! A screeching, mucus and blood-covered portent of their downfall!
And Heavenly Sword was really the first time that I'm aware of, certainly for a video game anyway, where you had multiple actors in motion capture suits with facial markers, and you're not only shooting their physicality, you're shooting their facial capture and recording dialogue. So basically, in effect, it's like shooting a film.
It's nothing compared to what I'll do to you! Oh,
It's not so much motion capture as performance capture. So, was this mutated ex-Hobbit popular with his team?
It was fantastic, especially with his vast experience in motion capture and also being an actor himself too. It was fantastic.
I know, he just created a great atmosphere, a great working atmosphere, and the way, the working relationship we had with him, he was very laid back about it, but knew exactly what he wanted.
Of course he did. He's the king.
Kill her! Wipe her out! It is my will!
In a project like Heavenly Sword, sometimes there's one section of development that's overlooked, possibly because you can't see it.
Music's a thing that draws you through through the game in the same way it draws you through a film.
There's an extra layer that's added by sound and then again by music. It kind of brings you into their world.
You may not necessarily notice it straight away, but it's something that sort of tugs at your heart and tells you emotionally what direction to go in.
It's sort of all absorbing, really, I think, and having the orchestra, I think, has been amazing.
Well, there were two orchestras actually. Early on, we used an orchestra from, well, it was the Nimrod orchestra that we used early on at Angel, but by and large, it was mainly the orchestra in Prague that we used, and it was fantastic working with a big symphony orchestra there. So that's really, I guess, my tool of expressing the language of emotion, and you know that's how it worked with the orchestra in Prague. It was just about getting the right kind of orchestration as well to create this world that's very unique to the characters of Heavenly Sword.
Here's how to use that special Heavenly Sword. At a secret London location, we managed to get hold of one of Ninja Theory's ninjas. We politely persuaded him to show us something new on Heavenly Sword, and boy, did he have some stuff to show us.
Hi, my name's Saito Man. I'm lead combat designer for Ninja Theory, and I'm about to show you a demo of our latest build of Heavenly Sword. Okay, this is a new location in Heavenly Sword where we're in more of a lush environment with lots more greenery. This is about 60% through the game. And here's an encampment of the enemies. So these guys, they're quite tough. They block a lot of the moves. So I've got to pick particular combos which are going to open them up. Did a quick counter there. Now, following up the move. This guy's a power stance character, so I switched to power stance quickly, but I got beaten up. This game's more than just a button masher, purely because of the stance system. You can't just wade in. My tip to really conquering this game is really learning the combo system. There are particular combos which will open up the enemies, and knowing which ones to use against which enemies is vital to your survival.
The second playable character in the game is Kai, Noriko's sister. She's small, she's not very strong, but she's still a force to be reckoned with.
She doesn't have any melee, she operates with basically a crossbow. So hitting the left shoulder trigger, I can go into aiming mode, and I can zoom using the right stick. Pressing square will let me shoot, and again I can after touch the arrow with the 6-axis controller. So if I stand behind an object, she'll naturally just instantly crouch, and that gives me cover from enemy shots. But as soon as I press L1, hold on, they're about to fire now, I'll pop up, and I can zoom in, pick a target, and fire at them. And he didn't die. I can take a flaming arrow and take it towards some explosives and take out the guys a lot quicker. So if I go up here, we've got a whole line of them, and just wipe them out in one go.
And our friendly ninja didn't stop there. He took us right into the final battle of the game to show us how Noriko likes nothing more than grabbing hold of a massive weapon and pounding the opposition into submission. It's all about the hand movements, apparently.
Heavenly Sword is first and foremost a combat game, but there are other sections in the game which we use to break up the combat, such as this section here, where you get to use a cannon to defeat the oncoming army. So here I am, we've got barrels rolling down to defeat our fort, and I've got to use a cannon to take them out. So I can continually hit fire and try to gauge the arc, or I can press and hold the fire button and go into aftertouch. And in aftertouch, I can steer the cannonball using the 6-axis controller. The idea here is to prevent your fort from being destroyed by the oncoming army, so I've got to take out the catapults as quickly as possible.
It's amazing how she has such control over those large metal balls, almost like she's teasing them into the targets. Explosive stuff, I'm sure you'll agree.
Out of ammunition.
For many, this was their first hands-on with the game. Here are their thoughts coming out of their mouths.
It's looking really nice, you know, it's combat's quite smooth, and you know, I like the other games have done the sort of context-sensitive button presses and things before, but this works them in really nicely, and you know, the graphics obviously beautiful. So.
Yeah, I had my first hands-on experience with the game today, and really impressed. Combat system seems very versatile. It seems to be a lot about using the right stance in the right situation.
I've played the game for about 15 minutes, so I'm a bit early with my opinion, but I think it's a great game. I was astonished by the presentation, and when I played it, it really came together. I think it's going to be a system seller.
What is your purpose, Noriko, exactly? To die valiantly, to shed blood for a worthless cause, perhaps?
Well, normally the purpose of a Hollywood actor appearing in a video game is to buy themselves a new car. Andy seems to have nobler intentions, as King Bohan and the story has a weirder beginning.
I happened to be going with my wife to get a mortgage one day, and as you know, as we all are, struggling to get new, better rates, and we went to see this mortgage advisor who was showing us on his laptop various different rates and different banks and building society rates and so on, and then he turned the laptop round and he pressed the button and he said, "Can you look at this?" So I started looking at it and I thought, wow, this is great graphics for a bank, or for a building society. How interesting! What an interesting way of selling 4.9%. He said, "Yeah, this is actually a trailer for a video game called Heavenly Sword." And I went, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, my brother actually is a games developer, and he really wants to get in touch with you. Will you give him a ring?" So I gave him his card, and I went to him, and we met up and got on really well and started working together. There was a personal side and a public side to King Bohan, but also there's a lot of animal. We used a lot of animal imagery to create. Obviously, the raven is a very important part of his character. Making them real and not just, these are conceptual drawings and, they're supposed to have a vague sort of, we actually made them personal and tried to find, where their souls lay. He's a sort of kind of rather paranoid individual who basically has had a control freak complex all his life, and which stems from him being kind of really not terribly good at school, actually. And so, you kind of build these little minute details into the character that probably nobody, while they're playing the game, will care about. But as an actor, they're all little building blocks.
Welcome! What a glorious day this is.
All of the characters have big dilemmas. The father of Noriko, Shen, he was kind of ripped apart at her birth, whether he should let her live or not, because she was a curse to the tribe. Noriko is an outcast, the heroine, she was an outcast from the tribe. Seeing Kai, this young savant character, being accepted into the tribe before her even. They're very, very strong dynamics.
Distraction!
They're not sort of, as I say, they're not sort of superficial catchphrase characters. They actually have a real life.
She's certainly got great skills in the death-dealing department, but does the lovely Noriko have what it takes to knock the queen of game heroines Lara Croft off her throne?
So many people keep asking that. I don't know. I don't know
about that just yet. I think she'd have to be around for another, 10 years or so before that will happen.
They're digital sisters, the way I see it, so, I'm sure that they'd work it out and kind of fight the world together, really.
I think we've created a really beautiful, strong, appealing heroine for our game, and I'd like to think that she could give Lara Croft a run for her money.
That's the end of our exclusively special show. Hey, we partied.
Welcome!
We've cried. Some of us have even died. I must admit, with all the excitement, I went and peed a little. See you all real soon, with fresher underwear, of course. Bye.